Good morning, all of you. In today's class, we will discuss one of the important topic for you. That is one of the organ function test. It is renal function test. Okay. I think you all know about what is the anatomy of kidney, what is the nephron, parts of nephron like glomerulonephritis, proximal PCT, DCT means distal convertible tubule, loop of Henle. So how the urine is formed? I think how the urine is formed in your knowing physiology class. So in biochemistry, we will go for what are the specific test we have to do for to assess the renal function and any disease condition to monitoring. Okay, this is one of the important topic for you. Come to the definition. So renal function test means biochemical test which are having importance in diagnosis and monitoring of kidney associated diseases are called as kidney function test or also called as renal function test. Means in short RFT or L. So why we have to do the RFT or renal function test? To identify any renal dysfunction and to diagnose renal disease and to monitor disease progress, to monitor response to therapy, to assess the changes in functions that may impact on therapy or like in chemotherapies. So first we will know any dysfunction is there in kidneys. If dysfunction is there, what may be the disease? Means diagnosis of disease, and then so after the disease came, we have to know, we have to give the therapy and any disease progression and also monitoring response to therapy means giving medication and also any to access the changes in function that may impact on therapy. So I think in anatomy physiology we know about what are the functions of kidney. So main functions are filtration, reabsorption, excretion of metabolic wastes, maintenance of water acid base balance, electrolyte balance, endocrine functions. In filtration, so main function of primary function of kidney is it filtrate blood, that is 180 liters per day of water with all sodium chloride, sugar, amino acids and other substances. That is 180 liters per day is filtered in the glomerulus. So next, so reabsorption. So 180 liters per day is filtered, but means why? But we have only 5 liters of blood. So 178.5 liters reabsorbed again to the blood, and all glucose and amino acid reabsorbed. Most of the sodium chloride also reabsorbed. Okay. So only metabolic wastes like urea, creatinine, uric acid, and elimination of toxins, metabolic drugs, sulfate, phosphates. So these are the products of metabolic waste of protein metabolism, any detoxification of process, any waste products. So along with water and sodium, some of sodium and chloride and ammonia. So these are excreted, urea excreted 1 to 1.5 to 2 liters per day. Urine is excreted in our body, and also this kidney helps in maintenance of water balance and acid base balance by eliminating hydrogen ions and reabsorption of bicarbonate ions, and maintenance of electrolytes balance like potassium sodium balance. The endocrine function of kidneys synthesis of active form of vitamin D, that is calcitriol, and this kidney will produce the erythropoietin, which is a hormone synthesized from the kidney and helps in erythropoiesis, and also renin. So this renin helps in renin angiotensin system, which helps in regulate the blood pressure by reabsorption of maintenance the electrolyte balance, mainly sodium. So So come to the classification of renal function test. So many tests are there to assess the renal function, but based on the functions we will classify into the test to screen for kidney diseases like complete urine analysis, plasma urea creatinine like NPN substances along with electrolytes, and to assess the glomerular function like GFR and clearance test, glomerular permeability. Next, to assess the tubular functions like reabsorption studies, secretion studies, concentration and dilution tests, and renal acidification tests. So this is the classification of renal function test. Come to the first one, classification. So test based on kidney to screen for kidney diseases like complete urinalysis, NPN substances, and electrolytes. So in complete urinalysis there may be physical examination and chemical examination. In physical characteristics of normal urine, so volume, in physical characteristics we will see volume which is 1 to 2 liters per day. Color is amber color or straw color. Odor is normal freshly voided urine is aromatic odor, means smell. And reaction to the litmus, that is blue litmus turns to the red. And specific gravity between 1.015 to 1.025. So in freshly urine there is no deposits or turbidity will not seen. So come to the physical characteristics of urine. In volume is 1000 to 1500 ml per day or 1 to 1.5 liters per day. So more than 200 ml is called as polyuria, which is occurring in diabetes mellitus, diabetes insipidus, chronic kidney disease, and diuretics. So less than 400 ml is called as oligouria. So this is occurring dehydration, acute tubular necrosis, urinary tract obstructions, and acute renal failure. And nocturia. So nocturia means excretion of urine bladels at the night, that is more than 500 ml at night. Next, anuria means complete cessation of urine, means less than 200 ml of urine is excreted per day. Next, pH. Normal pH of urine is ranging between 5 to 7. So acidic urine will occur in ketosis like diabetes ketosis, starvation ketoacidosis, systemic acidosis, fever, urinary tract infections like E. coli. And alkaline urine is excreted in strict vegetarian diet, systemic alkalosis, urinary tract infections like Proteus infections, and alkalization therapy. So normal order of urine is aromatic, but in pathological condition like diabetic ketosis it is fruity order and mousy order in phenylketonuria and ammoniacal order due to the bacterial infections. So deposition of turbidity due to the pus cells, crystals, bacteria, blood, lipids may seen in dehydration and any urinary tract infections, kidney infections, and proteinuria. So come to the color of the urine. So appearance, it is a normal urine is clear, which is straw color. So if the cloudy or opalescent will seen, urine turns cloudy and standing due to the precipitation of phosphates and refrigeration, and also presence of pus cells which causes cloudiness. Next, high color due to the concentrated urine, means when we have dehydration or we are not taking any water, it will lead to the concentrated urine excretion and oxidation of urobilinogen to urobilin. So yellow color will seen in jaundice and B complex intake, and smoky red due to the presence of blood, and brownish due to the hemoglobinuria. Orange will seen in high levels of bilirubin and rifampicin intake. Red color in porphyrias and ingestion of red beet. Next, black urine will seen in alkapnuria and formic acid poisoning, and milky urine will seen in chyluria, means lipids excretion in urine. So chemical examinations means proteins, sugars, ketone bodies, bilirubin, bile salts, urinobulin, and blood. So in when you go to the lab, you will see CUE in complete urinary examination. We use it to dipstick test. Okay. So we already discussed about volume. Along with then we have to write these also. Okay. So in dipsticks test, these are the test and their normal values and their interpretation, like specific gravity, so 1.015 to 25, and interpretation like low specific gravity in renal tubular dysfunction, diabetes insipidus, and high specific gravity in inadequate intake of water and any volume depletion. Next, pH, which is normally 5.5 to 6.5, and low pH will seen in high protein diet and acidosis, and recent male alkaline diet, and high pH in low protein diet. So blood will seen in menstruation, traumatic catheterization, glomerulonephritis, stones, tumors, and trauma of urinary tract, hemoglobinuria, and hemolysis. In protein, you'll seen in fever, exercise, orthostatic proteinuria, glomerulonephritis, urinary tract infections, and tubular diseases. Glucose will seen in diabetes mellitus, renal glycosuria, Fanconi syndrome. Ketone bodies seen in diabetes mellitus and starvation. Bilirubin seen in obstructive jaundice and hepatitis. Urobilinogen will seen in concentrated urine hepatitis, intravascular hemolysis, and obstructive jaundice. And bile salts will seen in obstructive jaundice. Nitrate will seen in urinary tract infections or bacterial infection. So this will again they will usually ask in viva in abnormal consist of urine and normal consist of urine. Okay, so be thorough with these interpretations and normal ranges. So come to the other chemicals substances like urea, creatinine, uric acid. These are also called as non-protein nitrogen substances or NPN substances. Okay, these are the normal values in blood and urine. So uremia in prerenal. So uremia means increased urea concentration in blood. So which is seen in prerenal, renal, and postrenal conditions. So decreased in prerenal, decreased blood volume, increased protein breakdown will cause increased urea concentration in blood. When renal causes are glomerulonephritis, acute glomerulonephritis, nephrotic syndrome, and renal tuberculosis. And postrenal causes are enlarged prostate, stones in urinary bladder and uterus, and tumors. Uric acid, creatinine, increased urinary creatinine, thyrotoxicosis, muscular dystrophies, myositis, and myasthenia gravis, pregnancy, diabetes mellitus. Whereas uric acid, there are the normal values of uric acid in blood and urine blood is 3 to 7 and 2.5 to 5 milligrams per deciliter in females. So increased in uric acid excretion is high protein diet, severe gout, leukemia, and kidney disease. So along with urea, creatinine, uric acid, other non-protein nitrogen substances are urobilinogen, ammonia, and amino acids. So estimation of NPN substances along with electrolytes helps in assessment of acid-base balance, which is commonly used as panel of tests indicating abnormalities in kidney diseases. So these are the normal values of electrolytes. So another one is to access the glomerular function. So to access the glomerular function, measurement of clearance is predominantly a test of glomerular filtration rate. So main function of glomerulolysis is filtration. So those glomerular membrane is selectively permeable to some of the components. So albumin is high molecular weight component which cannot be filtered through the glomerulus. Any affected, it will excrete into the urine. So GFR is affected by the age, sex, body size, protein intake and pregnancy. Normal GFR in adults is 120 ml per minute for 1.73 meter square. So this GFR it is used to assessment of severity of renal damages. A decrease in renal function is due to the loss of functional nephrons rather than decrease in function of individual nephrons. Means so loss of functional nephrons means number of nephrons will decrease. So GFR cannot be measured directly. It is estimated from the clearance of filtration markers. So what do you mean by clearance? So clearance means it is defined as volume of blood or plasma completely cleared of a substance per unit of time and is expressed in milliliter per minute. So means ml per minute. So this is calculated by using formula milligram of substance excreted per minute by the milligram of substance excreted per ml of milligram substance present in ml of plasma. Okay, this is a formula. C is equal to U into V by P. So U is equal to concentration of substance in urine, V is equal to concentration of substance in plasma or serum, and P equal to the ml of urine excreted per minute. So there are two types of substances which are used for the clearance test. So exogenous and endogenous. So exogenous means inulin and endogenous is creatinine and urea is mostly used. So come to the inulin clearance test. Inulin and discuss about carbohydrate chemistry. We will read about inulin. So inulin is a polysaccharide of fructose and not metabolized by the body. Okay. So inulin is a polymer of fructose. So about 100 ml of sterile inulin is given solution intravenously within 2 hours. Then the total volume of urine formed during this period is collected. Next, blood sample is taken at the mid of the test at 1 hour. So next, amount of inulin is measured by using resorcinol test, which gives a red color. So we have to measure inulin clearance by after measuring. So these are the values. So 125 mg per dl and 1 milligrams per deciliter and 1 ml per minute milligram of substance ml of plasma. So 125 ml in urine and 1 milligrams per deciliter in plasma, and so equal to 125 ml per minute. So inulin is exogenous and it gives a mostly exact value of GFR. So because inulin will not usually not reabsorbed and will not synthesized or produced in the glomerulus or tubules in the renal tubules. But creatine and urea usually used because to prevent the intravenous injection of inulin. Okay, so come to the creatinine. So creatinine is the ideal marker for the GFR or creatinine clearance. So because creatinine will not absorbed and will not affected by diet, and also creatinine very small amount will be produced in the tubules. Okay, so we come to the procedure of creatinine clearance test. Give 500 ml of water to the patient to promote the good urine flow and after 30 minutes ask the patient to empty the bladder, and then exactly after 1 hour collect the urine and note the volume of urine. Next, take one blood sample and measure the creatinine in blood and urine. So this is a calculation. This is a uncorrected. So because creatinine level may vary in adults, children, and aged persons. So because of this, creatinine will be different in based on age. So this is the corrected creatinine clearance, that is U into V into 1.73 by P into A. So U is concentration of substance in urine, V is volume of the ml of urine excreted per minute, 1.73 is the standard body surface area, and P is the concentration of substance in the plasma or serum. So A is the body surface of that person. So corrected creatinine clearance is 100 ml per minute by 1 per 1.73 square meter. So interpretation of creatinine clearance. So based on the creatinine clearance or GFR, we know the damage of glomerulus. So if the GFR is more than 90, is minimal damage or no damage to the glomerulus, whereas GFR is 60 to 89, it is mild damage, whereas 30 to 59 is moderately low GFR, whereas 15 to 29 will cause severe or low GFR, whereas less than 50 ml per minute for 1.73 meter square of creatinine clearance, it is leads to kidney failure. So based on GFR value, we know the how much damage occurred to the glomerulus. So come to the urea clearance test. Like same creatinine, we have to give the we have to measure the urea in blood and urine, and we have to calculate as by using creatinine calculation formula. So urea clearance is less than GFR because urea is partially reabsorbed. So urea clearance is around 75 ml per minute. So come to the other test like proteinuria. So excretion of protein in urine is called proteinuria. It is an indicator of leakage in glomerulus. So small amount of protein, usually less than 30 milligrams per day, is found in urine because very small protein is excreted. So because glomerulus is selectively permeable to the certain proteins only, and so major protein is albumin, which will not excreted normally in the urine. So whenever it damage to the glomerulus, this protein means albumin is excreted in the urine. So normally less than 30 milligrams per day is normal, whereas 30 to 30 milligrams per day is called as microalbuminuria. Remember this one. These usually asked in Viva. So what is microalbuminuria? So what is the value? So microalbumin is 30 to 300 milligrams per day, whereas more than 300 milligrams per day is benign proteinuria, and pathological proteinuria is 300 milligrams to 1000 milligrams per day. So more than 1000 milligrams per day is called as glomerular proteinuria. So damage to the glomerulus also causes to passage of RBCs or blood in the urine called as hematuria. So this will occur in glomerular damage and RBC, that leads to the RBC leakage occurs. So third one is to assess the tubular functions. Like to assess the tubular function, reabsorption studies, secretion studies, concentration dilution test, and renal acidification. So tubular function is concentration and dehydration and specific gravity, maintenance of specific gravity. This one not required. So come to the this is the one. So come to the tubular function. So dilution capacity. So how much the dilution is occurred. So patient is asked to empty the bladder. Then we have to give the 1000 to 1200 ml of water. Then urine sample is collected hourly for 4 hours. Means 4 samples will collected. Then we have to measure the specific gravity. So one specific gravity falls to the 1.005 or less than that one. So urine osmolality falls less than 100 milliosmoles per kg. So we have to caution, means we have to take care of this test during any renal disease. If the already renal diseases is there, when we doing this test, we have to make caution, like it may lead to the fluid overload, because if they given water 100 to 1200 ml of water, it will give more water load, because renal tissue is damaged and cannot filtrate. So for the tests are specific gravity urine, measurement of osmolality, concentration test, dilution test, and urine acidification. So specific gravity of urine, so it depends on concentration of solute. Osmolality depends on number of osmolality active particles. So difference between specific gravity and osmolality. So specific gravity depends on concentration of solutes, whereas osmolality depends on number of osmotically active particles. Hence, in case of proteinuria, the specific gravity is elevated, because proteins are excreted in urine, which causes increased specific gravity. But osmolality is only mildly elevated, because mainly the glucose and electrolytes, which are more actively osmotically active substances. So how we have to measure the osmolality? Measurement of osmolality. Urine osmolality is 60 milliosmoles per kg to 1200 milliosmoles per kg. So a random urine sample may have osmolality around 600 milliosmoles per kg, and it is increased to 850 after 12 hours fluid restriction. So simultaneously measurement of plasma and urine osmolality and calculation of ratio of osmolality of urine plasma is more helpful in tubular function tests. So normal ratio of osmolality of urine or plasma is 3 to 4.5. Plasma osmolality is 285 to 300 milliosmoles per kg. So osmolality is measured with an osmometer based on the depression of freezing point of sample. Just remember, osmometer used for measure the osmolality. So normal use urine osmolality less than 300 milliosmoles in central diabetes insipidus. It may be a central or nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. So measurement of osmolality means we will write the normal value of osmolality of urine and plasma osmolality and random sample osmolality and decreased osmolality in diabetes insipidus and diabetes insipidus in central diabetes insipidus or nephrotic diabetes insipidus. Next one is concentration test. Procedure for concentration test is the patient is allowed to no food or water after a meal at 6 p.m. Next, the next day at 7 a.m. we are asked to patient to empty the bladder and we have to discard that sample. Then we have to collect the urine sample at 8 a.m. and the specific gravity is measured. If the specific gravity is more than 1.022, That means the patient have adequate renal function, means no damage is there, and osmolality more than 850 milliosmoles per kg. See, in normal person the specific gravity may be high as 1.032. So during the concentration rate, osmolality should exceed more than 750 milliosmol per kg. So isostenuria, it is a condition where specific gravity fixed at 1.010. So it is the early sign of glomerular nephritis. And nocturia. Nocturia means it is a passage of more urine, more than 500 ml in the urine, which is in early sign of tubular dysfunction. Next is dilution test. The patient is not allowed to drink any water after the midnight. Next, we have to ask the patient to empty the bladder at 7 a.m. and again we have to give the water load, which is 1200 ml over the next 30 minutes. Next, we have to take the samples per hour, one sample up to 4 hours. Next, volume, specific gravity and osmolality of each sample is measured. So after measuring, we have to check for those, and almost all the water load within 4 hours excreted, and specific gravity of the at least one sample should be fallen under 1.003 and osmolality to 50 milliosmoles per kg. So this dilution test is more sensitive and less harmful than the concentration test. So urine acidification. So acidification defects may occur due to the generalized tubular defects in ion pumps. So ammonium chloride at a dose of 0.1 grams per kg body weight, the ammonium chloride is dissociated into ammonium and chloride. In the liver, ammonia is immediately converted to the urea, and chloride ions will counterbalanced by the hydrogen, and both combine together to form HCl. HCl is a acid which is powerful acid and excreted in the urine to produce the acidification. So this is a principle based on acidification. So urine is collected hourly from 2 to 8 hours after ingestion of ammonia, and pH is each sample is noted. So in that, at least one sample should have pH is 5.3 or less, and ammonia excretion should be 30 to 90 millimoles per hour. In chronic renal failure, the pH may be low due to the coexisting metabolic acidosis, but in the ammonia excretion is less. In tuberous acidosis, the pH is 5.3 and not achieved. Okay, so this will complete the renal function test. This will mostly ask for 5 marks question, or it may ask for 10 marks question. If they ask 5 marks question, just we will write the definition of RFT and classification of RFTs. Then we have to write briefly, so what are the test and importance of different tests. Okay, if they ask 10 marks question, you should write fully. Thank you.